And I believe we are live. Hey, it's Wisecracks, and we are here to do reality tubing, real life, real situations. Your input below. Always give us feedback. I'd like to introduce you to the wonderful and talented Bridget
Hello.
and John Blaze.
Check the hat, check the hat. It's new, it's different.
Oh, and I can't see it. There it is. Well, you got to put
Oh,
the bill down.
there.
You have
Uh-oh,
to-
did he freeze? No, he's still there. Okay. Every once in a while, this live thing, you have technical issues, which it's Google. It shouldn't have any issues. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of issues, holy is everybody going Ebola crazy? Can we say that word right now?
It is kind of like a four-letter word, I feel.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the whole world has gone Ebola crazy. Like everybody's afraid of getting Ebola, and I think a lot of people don't realize the truth. I've read up extensively on this, and the majority, believe it or not, of Americans think that Ebola spreads through the air. 78% of Americans think that, and that is not true. So if you're watching this and you didn't know that, it is not true. The only possibility of it spreading through the air would be the simple fact that if somebody had it and they sneezed and it was coming at you, the mist, then you could potentially get it. It's not 100% potential, but or 100%, but it is possible. You know, there's a large majority of people out there that said that they think that their immediate family members are going to get it. And then we have people out there that are creating more of a panic, like the guy in the Washington Dulles airport who was wearing a hazmat suit in the airport. I mean, what people are just going absolutely crazy about this thing.
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
even,
think about it, Jeff. The first thing you said to me was, "Oh, you sound like you're getting sick." Oh, it's not Ebola, and it's kind of a joke that shouldn't be a joke, but it's just like a cold. That's how people pass the cold along. When people sneeze and they're sick, that's how it gets passed along. So it's very similar to that. But it's just scary because they had the nurse that was supposedly, I don't know if she was infected or if she was just one of the nurses that was with the man that had passed away in Texas, but then she hopped on a flight with 150 people. And just
yeah.
think about, the spread. So I don't know if people they aren't thinking, they don't care, they don't think that, everyone thinks they're invincible. So I don't know.
Right. And I think part of that to do is kind of like what we talked about last time is with racism. It has to do with education. It has to do with opening your ears and paying attention and listening to things. Don't be afraid of things. Embrace things. Read up on them and be smart about it. Don't listen to what everybody else is saying. Do the research and you judge for yourself.
Well,
And
that
so many
reminds
people think that.
me, think what?
Sorry, I was going to let you finish your thought, Bridget.
Oh, no. I was just going to say that, Jeff was talking about educating yourself and being aware, and that just reminded me of my college days. I was terrible about paying attention to what was going on. I mean, I'm just ashamed to even admit this. I would probably have been like, Ebola? What's that? And it's just something, of course, as the older you get, the more aware you are, because whether it's your children or, in my case, my nieces and nephews and just your family in general, you're just a lot more aware, and it's a topic of conversation, where I think that that's not always the case when you're a little bit, younger. So I think we
John.
lost John again.
Uh-oh.
Talking about technical difficulties.
Yeah, I know, right? It's not as easy as it looks, trust me. Oh, John is on his way back in, and as John comes back in, we will get John's opinion. There he is. He's back. John, you were saying.
John?
Say that again.
Yeah, I said, John, you were saying. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, people take this so seriously. And
Do you have auto-tune on?
You sound like you're on auto-tune. I don't. All of a sudden, like we got this funky connection going on.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
Kind was cool.
Ah,
He's going to try to connect. Well, you know, it's one of those things that, like I said, if enough people read the articles, did the research, like you were mentioning about the nurse, basically she was one of the people that took care of the guy that was in Texas. She was about to get on the plane. She was responsible enough to call the CDC and say, hey, I've got a 99.5 fever here, and I'm supposed to go to Ohio, fly to Ohio to help out with a wedding. Is that cool? The CDC is like, yeah, go right ahead. And so she got on a plane with 137, 132 other people, something like that, and got there and realized she was sicker than she thought, checked in, and she's tested positive for it. Now, CDC cannot be absolutely certain that she is not infected anybody else on the plane, but they said chances are, you know, she didn't report any sneezing, she didn't report touching or rubbing against anybody or sharing her cup with somebody. So the CDC said the chances are very low, but they can't promise that it didn't affect everybody. Right. So, you know, I just encourage people, if you're watching this, definitely read up on it, because all we can do is educate ourselves and be smarter about it, you know.
Right.
So, do you by chance have any good news to offer?
I do have some good news. Actually, a friend of mine, oops, I'm getting a call from John. Oops. Sorry.
Uh-oh. Okay. I'll tell you what. While you talk to me about that, I'm gonna send John a little invite so that he can be on with us.
Okay. And I apologize to you if you're watching. I mean, this is the most technical difficulties we had actually during a show. So stick with us. We promise it'll be worth it. But anyways, my good news is a friend of mine, her son is in the Marines, and he has been in Afghanistan. And he recently got back, and she flew out to California for the week to see him. And just very excited, very proud of our troops. My dad and two of my brothers are Marines. But I wanted to show you a little clip here because there's protocol when they come back. There's certain things that they have to do before they can see their families. And this I think this 3-year-old was just too excited to wait. So let me go ahead and share that with you right now.
Okay.
And can you see this?
Not just yet.
No?
Not just yet.
How about now?
Yes, see your screen.
Okay, good. Now, so here is the little clip of the video. And speaking of technical difficulties, wow, is it just a bad internet thing?
I can hear it.
Okay. Let me skip this
part.
part.
Home after serving in Afghanistan with the National Guard's 114th Transportation Company. She'd been apart from her son for 9 months.
All of a sudden, we had to file into the building and get information, and I, just look up, and Cooper and my mom were right there.
But Cooper, well, he'd waited long enough.
Just kept smiling like he was in awe.
A moment captured by a Care 11 photographer posted on our Facebook page.
Like this one, it just says, that was probably the most tear-jerking and humbling 26 seconds I've seen in a long time.
So that was just a short clip of it, but it just made me smile, because that's how I feel my friend Julie probably felt when she saw her son, after not seeing him for several months. And so she got a week with him in California, and then he'll get to fly home for, I think, a week for Thanksgiving. So just very proud of our troops. They're out there risking their lives every day for us, and our country wouldn't be what it is without them. So
right.
That's good news.
I would definitely like to send a special thank you out to all the men and women out there that are serving our country. We thank you so much for your service, and we thank you for the job that you guys do every day. And I think a lot of Americans feel the same way. We definitely recognize you.
Most definitely.
Well, Mr. John, now that we know that we have you back,
can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We did a little bit of good news while you were coming back in. You were going to say before we lost you.
Oh, I was just going to say the silliness of people with the lack of information. I know people personally, like in Virginia, with the whole Ebola thing, and sometimes as people think they know too much about something, and then you don't. The CDC is not an medicine, and disease is not an exact science. So the CDC is trying to give as much information as well as not cause a panic. And I think people don't understand that part. You don't want people panicking because, as we were talking about the other day with the racism situation over in Ferguson, Missouri, panic, they do crazy and silly and stupid things. So it's good not to cause a panic. Make sure you have all the information. And, you know, there's the whole debate of, is it airborne or is it just bodily fluids? And what if it's airborne? And it's like, okay, but let's find out first. Let them announce it. Because if it is, and that comes out to be what the case may be, then we'll take precautions, you know, just like the bird flu years ago over in China. They had to wear masks and protect themselves. We're going to do the same thing until they figure something out. So just people don't panic, don't worry. And I'm sorry, I believe in God. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen regardless. So I'm sorry. I mean, they dealt with the plague, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So we're still on the same planet, nothing new under the sun.
Right. You got it. Well, we've got to end this episode for now, but we are going to come back. And again, Wisecracks, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're definitely looking for your comments below. And,
down there. Look down.
Yes, please. And that, my friends, is John Blaze.
Hey. Check the head.
This over here is Bridget.
Hi, sorry, no hat.
Yeah, where's your tiara tonight?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, she's got her tiara.
She's got it close. She's got it close. There it is.
I love it.
You know.
I love it. Our Princess Bridget.
I feel like a princess, or now with Elsa, a queen. You know.
Nice.
Ooh.
I like it. And we will see you next time on Wisecracks.